Kino, a 15-year-old traveler, forms a bond with Hermes, a talking motorcycle. Together, they wander the lands and venture through various countries and places, despite having no clear idea of what to expect. After all, life is a journey filled with the unknown. Throughout their journeys, they encounter different kinds of customs, from the morally grey to tragic and fascinating. They also meet many people, some who live to work, some who live to make others happy, and some who live to chase their dreams. Thus, in every country they visit, there is always something to learn from the way people carry out their lives. It is not up to Kino or Hermes to decide whether these asserted values are wrong or right, as they merely assume the roles of observers within this small world. They do not attempt to change or influence the places they visit, despite how absurd these values would appear. That's because in one way or another, they believe things are fine as they are, and that the world is not beautiful, therefore, it is.
An orb, known only as it, is cast to earth to be observed from afar. Capable of changing forms from beings whose reflections it captures, it first becomes a rock and then, due to the rising temperature, moss. It does not move until one snowy day, a wolf at death's door barely crosses by. When it takes the animal's form, it attains awareness of its consciousness and starts to wander with an unclear destination in mind. Soon, it comes across the wolf's master, a young boy waiting for his tribe to return from a paradise abundant with fish and fruit in the south. Although the boy is lonely, he still hopes those whom he holds dear in his memories have not forgotten him and that he will reunite with them one day. The boy wants to explore new surroundings and decides to abandon his home with it to find the paradise using the traces his tribe left behind. However, with a heavily injured body and no sight of his elder comrades, what will become of the boy? Fumetsu no Anata illustrates the story of an immortal being experiencing humanity, meeting all types of people in many places throughout time. Since childhood, Elena has always been fascinated by the stories written within her favorite book, especially those about Nike, a renowned witch who had numerous great travels across the world. Wanting to experience the awe of adventure herself, Elena strives to become a witch, and despite the numerous trials that come her way, she eventually succeeds. Now a full-fledged witch, Elena finally embarks on her long-awaited journey, in which she meets many people along the way, learning their various stories. Through all of this, she explores the world at its fullest, experiencing both its bright and dark sides, starting her legendary tale. Chai Satori, a 15-year-old Japanese girl, was sold for £5 million at an auction to a tall masked gentleman. Abandoned at a young age and ridiculed by her peers for her unconventional behavior, she was ready to give herself to any buyer if it meant having a place to go home to. In chains and on her way to an unknown fate, she hears whispers from robed men along her path, gossiping and complaining that such a buyer got his hands on a rare sleigh beggy. Ignoring the murmurs, the mysterious man leads the girl to a study, where he reveals himself to be Elias Ainsworth, a magus. After a brief confrontation and a bit of teleportation magic, the two open their eyes to Elias' picturesque cottage in rural England. Greeted by fairies and surrounded by weird and wonderful beings upon her arrival, these events mark the beginning of Chai's story as the apprentice and supposed bride of the Great War finally came to an end after 4 long years of conflict. Fractured in two, the continent of Telesis slowly began to flourish once again. Caught up in the bloodshed was Violet Evergarden, a young girl raised for the sole purpose of decimating enemy lines. Hospitalized and maimed in a bloody skirmish during the war's final leg, she was left with only words from the person she held dearest, but with no understanding of their meaning. Recovering from her wounds, Violet starts a new life working at Postal Services after a falling out with her new intended guardian family. There, she witnesses by pure chance the work of an auto-memory doll, amanuenses that transcribe people's thoughts and feelings into words on paper. Moved by the notion, Violet begins work as an auto-memory doll, a trade that will take her on an adventure, one that will reshape the lives of her clients and hopefully lead to self-discovery.